Okay, I'm Mike Willis, and I'm here with another edition of Moments Off the Mat. Today, our guest is six-time national team member Katherine Shai. Katherine's going to talk a little bit about her company, Luchafit. Katherine, how are you today?
I'm doing really good.
Good to hear. Thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate you. And like I said, today we're going to talk a little bit about Luchafit. Why don't you start us off? What exactly is Luchafit?
Yeah, so Luchafit is an educational platform. Kind of the story behind it and how it formed was it originally was basically my website, my athlete website, and after 2016, it started. I knew I needed to change it up, and already I had been producing a lot of content. My sister and I actually had kind of like started doing that like back when content was like kind of a thing, but not really for athletes, like not like how it is now. So we had like some videos up there and I've had to take them down because they're nice and embarrassing. But like, so we were like just playing around with different types of content. We started blogging, and then I was like, okay, well, after 2016, I wasn't sure if I'd wrestle again. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get a 9 to 5. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do. And so I kind of was like, okay, well, I could write about my experiences as a Team USA athlete. Like all the content and things that I search for, like what do I eat after practice, this and this and that, like all these different things. It's usually like cyclists and triathletes. It's not even professional level athletes who are creating this content. And so, I was like, obviously this is missing from the market. We have, and then even more specifically, we have a ton of females who are adding to the sport. And my content is definitely heavily female directed, but I have plenty of male wrestlers who like get a ton of support and help from the content. So it was just like seeing that need that these young girls needed some education about what it's like. And then I've been very lucky because I have some incredible friends, basically. I don't know if you know them, but they're all, national, world, Olympic level athletes. So I've pulled from my friends to write about their experiences. Something that I actually brought up today when I posted a new blog, and we'll kind of get into that, is that, my mission from the beginning with Luchafit has been to share diverse voices and diverse stories, specifically like with women, right? And other like female athletes. And then, more specifically, I just want to show a diverse, like what does wrestling look like? Because wrestling is very, very diverse. So it's always been my mission to share a lot of unique perspectives so that every person out there can get an idea like, hey, that's kind of like me, like, or that person looks like me, like how cool I could wrestle. So that's kind of been the mission, and it's been really fun. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what year did LuchaFit come out? And over the years, how has the website kind of transitioned, or maybe even pivoted to kind of different content? And what do you see going forward with the website? Like, what ideas do you have for it?
Yeah, so 2017 was really when my husband and I came up with the name and started building out the platform a little bit more to what it looks like right now. And right off the bat, it was just like me searching for kind of a good outlet. It was definitely very therapeutic to write about my experiences. I was in a position, I was pregnant during that time, so I was just kind of searching for like what it should look like and what it should be, and who am I as an athlete or a retired athlete. Like there's a lot of different things, so I've written about a varying amount of different experiences, right? um, and and definitely at that time I was just trying to spread the word about it. And there's always been the component of like, okay, how does the business make money? That's always the component of a business, because I'm very passionate about like writing and teaching. And so I have to, had to put some effort into like, what does that look like to make it a true business? And the thought eventually is like, this can be an outlet for other athletes, obviously wrestlers. I want to create jobs for people to stay within the wrestling world. I think that's really important, and to put more eyes into the sport. So, that first year, first 2 years, 2017 and 2018, I was going to events. I was hosting my own events. I've hosted a lot of clinics, just really kind of exploring what the brand could be, and what the need was, and when people, it was hard for a lot of girls to really understand the concept. Like I went to Folk Style Nationals 2018. And for a lot of them, I was like, hey, this is an educational blog for you. And I was like, what do you want to see? What do you want me to write about? And they were just like, I don't even know, like, because there's nothing available. So they had no concept of like what that could even look like. So I definitely spent a lot of time educating other people about like, hey, this is what it does look like, and this is what it could look like. What are you interested in? What do you want to hear? What do you want to see? What kind of resources do you want? So then when I started training again in 2018, things definitely slowed down because I was hammering out like 2 blogs a week. Sometimes, you know, I was definitely having guest writers, but it takes a lot of, there's a very specific style when it comes to blog writing and educational space. And so I have to kind of like work with the people and ask the questions. And so there's a lot of maneuvering to get the content out right. And so once I started training again, it was just very hard to actually do that full time. And so I shifted to doing, like, once I was actually training and starting to compete again, I shifted to just doing some more in-person stuff. And right now I do one-on-one, like, online coaching a lot. So I have mindset coaching, and I have a Greco athlete that I work with, and I have some other females that I work with. So that's kind of where I've been like, hey, the space is pretty diverse still, right? And so that's kind of like where I've been at more so, because the writing the content has been, it's hard. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of work. So you just have to prioritize. And right now training is number one priority. And the future, I have a lot of thoughts and goals for it. A lot of things that I'm not going to share because they're secrets. But a bigger platform is the hope, and I have some other kind of like offshoots that I feel like can really help athletes and kind of people in similar spaces. And so I have a lot of plans, a lot of things that I have to just kind of like write down and then like move on from for now. But that kind of, hopefully that kind of gives you a gist. It's hard to describe like some of the things that I want to do without giving the whole jig up, and I can't do that.
Absolutely. And I'd encourage anybody that hasn't been to the site to go to the site. And today's blog post was basically kind of how you've been coping with COVID-19 and your initial reactions. And I thought it was really insightful because, again, you know, you don't really always get to hear what's going through Olympic caliber athletes, you know, heads with all this. So, and to that point, you have a whole section, 6 feet apart. Can you talk a little bit about that and what the idea was behind that?
Yeah. So 6 feet apart was inspired by the Players Tribune, and they're definitely an athlete website blog space that I've admired from afar for a long time. They do a great job telling athlete stories and very unique, diverse ways, which is pretty cool. And so I saw that they were doing this whole section called the ISO, and I guess it's kind of like the isolation. And so it's really kind of like a brief little look at different athletes, all different sports, Olympic, professional, kind of like runs the gamut, like skateboarders, you know, like everything. Just kind of like a little glimpse into their life, what it looks right now for being in isolation. And it wasn't anything like a crazy expose. It wasn't like breaking everything down and what are they doing every day and all these different things. It was just kind of like, it gives you just like a feel of what's going on and what their headspace is like. And I think that's, you said it exactly. Like, you just don't get a whole lot of opportunity to hear about like where someone's headspace is at, like at Olympic level athletes. Like, what are they thinking right now? And we do our best on social media, but it's not always the same as this really elegantly like written platform that I think blogs can provide. So I thought it'd just be really cool to do a whole series that reflects different people in the wrestling community and what is going on, because I don't even know what's going on throughout the wrestling community. So like, so far I've had Jessica Medina and Clarissa Chun. They did the first one, so it's like, here's a coach's perspective and what's going on with them. And then I've had all the way to like a mom who's like, here's how I feel and here's how like I'm trying to help my kids through it. So I'm just going through different people, and we've got some really awesome people coming up, which is exciting, who've already done some interviews with me. And so yeah, and mine came out today, and I'm honestly like, I'm very much an open book when it comes to like talking about my experiences, and I haven't been in the past. I think that Luchafit has provided me the ability to like talk with people about my wrestling experiences and my training without feeling like I'm giving up the secret sauce, And as wrestlers, that's like ingrained in us to not give up our secrets. But there's something to be said about like to giving up some of those things. Like what kind of power, what am I trying to hold on to? That I'm so fearful that somebody's going to take something, because there's so much intrinsic value that you have in yourself and your own training. So I think it's been a really cool experience to just find new ways to open up. And that's what I'm encouraging the athletes I'm working with. Hey, open up as much as you need to. You don't have to give away anything, but open up and like use this as like a therapeutic technique, so.
Yeah. And I know you said in the beginning there weren't too many content-based sites out there, or too much wrestling content going out. Now, we're in 2020. There's a lot more wrestling content, and there are some websites specifically that are solely women's wrestling content. How is Luchafit a little bit different than those?
So I think, and I've had a lot of those groups reach out to me, and been really fortunate to hear that they're like, hey, I've used you as inspiration, like seeing Luchafit. At first they were like, oh no, I think that's what I thought I wanted to do. And, I think it's helpful to at least be like an example to people of like what it can look like. I think a lot of the media specific for like women's wrestling right now is focused on kind of like current events. And the unique thing that Luchafit offers is truly like an insight into training, an insight into mindset, an insight into like lifestyle, instead of kind of just like a current event kind of documentation. And that's truly because like, not only does it take like a certain type of person to write about their experiences, but then you have to have like the actual people to like kind of fill those gaps. So it's, if you're not someone who's competed at that high level and you want to create the content, it might be hard because you're going to rely on a lot of other people to create that content for you. Whereas I get to kind of rely on myself, and then people close to me or athletes around me or people that I meet, So that's kind of where it differs. And but I'm excited to see a lot born from that. And I do hope that I provided inspiration for other people to see like, hey, this was missing and we need it, and let's keep growing it because we need a lot of platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the people that you're kind of around and working with, your mother, Joan Fulp, hugely influential person in the wrestling world, and specifically the women's wrestling sphere. She was USA Wrestling's Woman of the Year, one of Women of the Year, her and Andrea Yamamoto. They're the heads of the Girls High School Development Committee, really kind of making the push across the country to get girls wrestling into high schools. Is she someone that you've bounced ideas off of or taken some input for? Has she had any thoughts on Luchafit?
All the time. All the time. I mean, if I could get her to, sometimes I get a lot of ideas like from her and Andrea, like, hey, what if you wrote about this or did this? And, and they are honestly very busy with what they're doing, because you can be on like a million calls with this state and this group and all these different things. So I honestly need to just like hire them as full-time writers or something, because they have ideas constantly. And I'm like, I don't have time, guys. Like I can't. So maybe eventually I'll be able to like write as fast as the ideas they come up with. We'll see. But yes, a huge part of what I do is bouncing ideas off of people. For those who know me, like I'm very like, I get lost in the details sometimes, and with this project specifically, with the 6 feet apart project, I wanted to do it justice. I didn't want to just like throw up some stories and be like, that was good enough. Or so it was really well thought out. And Andrea Yamamoto was someone that I really called a lot on. And she and I still bounce ideas off of. So she really helped me out with the idea of like, hey, why don't you have two people on one blog together, and you can kind of get like the feel and the compare contrast. And that was kind of like where the where Coach Medina and Coach Chun, like that approach came from that. So hugely influential. Andrea and I have worked on like another little side project that I hope, right now we have the ability, because I'm not home and I'm not traveling around to all my training, I'm here. We got a mat in our house. My husband and I are wrestling here. Like those are huge advantages for me to be able to do this project. And I'm very grateful that I'm able to do it right now. There's another side project that I'm working on that Andrea has helped me put together, because she's just like idea factory. It's incredible. Her mind is incredible. She just goes. And so like I get excited about that, but then priorities have to come in. So we'll see if like that second project happens or not. I don't know. But definitely. And my mom still owes me a blog that she has to finish. So from like a year ago, she needs to get on it.
Well, glad we can help use our platform for you to encourage your mom to
Yes.
finish her blog posts.
Uh-huh.
So normally, again, you're training for the Olympics. You are a very busy individual. How much time, on a daily or weekly basis do you put into this? And then with COVID-19 happening, has that amount of time increased at all? Has it decreased? What's it looking like?
Yeah, I would say this last year, I've had to put like minimal time into it. I was really fortunate to meet Victoria Diaz, who's done work with Wrestle Like a Girl, and that's kind of like how she got hooked into the wrestling world. She's kind of just incredible all around. She's got more of a coaching. She's a soccer player, and that's her background. And so she wants to kind of enter soccer and coaching, but then she's looking at wrestling coaching potentially. There's a lot of things, but then she's just a talented individual in general with the creative side of photography and graphic design and all these different pieces. So I was able to utilize her skills and had her do all the social media for Luchafit. So this whole past year, she's taken that on. And so that took so much stress off of me, because I'm passionate about it and I don't want it to die, but I can't do it right now. I just had to make the choice. So it was pretty much just like, hey, here's the things that we've done. We're still here. We're still, having people do takeovers. We still want to be a part of the conversation. But it has to be what it is right now. So that means that my time on Luchafit has increased tenfold right now, because now I'm actually able to spend some time working on this project and developing this project out. And then once training shifts again, and it will, and competition comes back, then it'll probably have to kind of go back to that like zero time, basically. So I feel really happy that I'm able to actually work on something right now and still feel very focused on my training. So yeah.
And I know you don't want to give any potential surprises or anything big that could be coming up, but after the 2021 games, how much time do you think you're going to be putting into it? And, why should people be excited about it?
So time will be probably 24 hours. So the plan is to make that the whole thing, right? So that's the focus. No 9 to 5s. That'll be the business, the whole job. So and why should people look ahead? I'm very excited to work on a lot more like media-based projects, YouTube. Like I have a little bit on YouTube, but not much. And I have a very good way of looking at like how people want to interact with others, like especially on that YouTube space, getting athletes involved in more things, like more fun interaction of content. And it's hard to say what it is without giving things up. But um, it's kind of like if you are excited for the future of media and athletes and how we can um, shape wrestling, then keep paying attention because it's going to get really exciting, and there's a lot of exciting ideas coming. And then I don't even know who else I could partner with in the future. Like there's so much possibilities that we'll just see. But one of the toughest things about having to put this project to a side for now is that I get approached a lot, and which is very exciting for me and for wrestling, right? I get approached by a lot of different entities a lot, and so that means that there's just like always possibilities budding. And I think it's just going to really help grow the sport and grow the visibility of the sport in a really cool, unique way. And that's what I'm excited for. Yeah.
Do you think there's any fear or maybe trepidation, uh, going all in full time on something that you've managed to keep as a side project for years?
No, because it's kind of what an athlete's life is. Like
Yeah.
this, I've already been doing this, I've already kind of like made my passion my full-time job. And that's that's kind of like the lifestyle that we as a family have lived and kind of committed to. And another part of this is like my husband's really passionate about business, and I wouldn't have like everything I have like in terms of website design and graphics and stuff without him. He's a graphic designer and is a UX designer. So I it's like as a unit, like we're excited to move forward with it and like actually build this business. So there's really like there's no fear. Like I've prepared myself for this kind of life. It's the same thing as training for something that you can't predict the future on how it will go, but you just keep training, you just keep going. So I've been in this space for a long time, and that's what I'm there's always fear though. Like I can already tell like, oh my gosh, this is a totally different type of challenge that I'll be entering, and it can be really scary. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Katherine, I appreciate you coming on today. I'm really excited about Luchafit. I don't even know some of the stuff I'm excited about, but I'm excited for it.
Good. Then I've sold it.
Is there anything else you want to say, or do you want to let people know how to follow along with Luchafit and what channels you're going to be active on?
Yes. So on Instagram, it's lucha.fit. And on Twitter, just Luchafit. I do have a YouTube space if you want to check that out. So just Google Luchafit. And it's lucha, like the Spanish word for wrestling. And so should be pretty easy to find. Then luchafit.com is the website. And at the very top, it has the COVID-19 special section. You can also go to luchafit.com/COVID-19. And that's the whole section. So you'll find everything there. And also Facebook, on Facebook. So Luchafit on Facebook. So we're pretty active on all those spaces, posting everywhere, especially with this series. And the biggest thing is helping share it. So sharing it on Facebook, sharing it on Instagram, because these stories are really important, and it gives us an opportunity to look inside very different people's lives and connect to each other in a whole new way. And that's what I think the special moment is happening right now, is like, how are we connecting when we're not actually physically together? And this gives us that opportunity. And the more we support wrestling focused brands, the idea is that we get more people who are not in the wrestling space to come in and to like get those eyes on wrestling. So if I can do that with these kind of unique stories that we can all relate to on a human level, then that's really exciting for wrestling, I think. So
Well said. Absolutely. So I just want to say thanks again, Katherine. It's been a pleasure. Folks, check out Luchafit. Sounds like there's going to be some big things coming in the future.
thanks. 2021, after that, maybe 2022. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, again, nothing but best wishes and good luck to you and all your future endeavors. And course, you got, potentially the Olympic Games coming up as well. So,
Really. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Thank you
okay.
so much, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And this has been Moments Off the Mat. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, everybody.